The last person to leave Grandma's bedside was me. Now, watching my cousins dab fake tears at her funeral, I wonder if they even remember what her voice sounded like. My name is Jolie, and for the past 5 years, I've been the one making tea at 3 a.m. when Grandma couldn't sleep, adjusting her pillows during cancer treatments, and reading her favorite poetry until she dozed off. Not because I had to, but because someone needed to. "Oh, you're still here?" Olivia's voice drips with manufactured sympathy as she approaches me after the service. Her designer heels click against the marble floor of the funeral home. "It must be so hard losing your living arrangement." I force a polite smile. "Thank you for coming, Olivia." "Of course we came," Parker chimes in, appearing beside his sister. "She was our grandmother, too, even if some of us couldn't drop everything to play nurse." The funeral home is packed with faces I haven't seen since last Christmas, or the Christmas before that. Genesis, my youngest cousin, is live streaming her grief to her Instagram followers in the corner. "Like and subscribe if you've ever lost someone special," she whispers to her phone. "Jolie." Tom, Grandma's attorney, touches my elbow. "A moment?" I follow him to a quiet alcove, grateful for the escape. Tom's been handling the family's legal affairs since before I was born. He looks tired today, his bow tie slightly crooked. "Your grandmother left something for you." He pulls an envelope from his jacket. "She was very specific. You're to read it only after tomorrow's will reading." "Tom, I don't expect anything. I didn't—" "I know you didn't." His eyes are kind. Regina knew that too. A commotion draws our attention. Claire, my aunt, is holding court near the guest book, her voice carrying. Poor Regina, all alone in that big house. Well, not entirely alone. She glances my way. Some people know an opportunity when they see one. Amy, my best friend since college, appears at my side. "Want me to accidentally spill coffee on her Chanel?" I squeeze her hand. "Thanks, but no. Grandma always said dignity is the best revenge." "Speaking of revenge," Amy mutters, "here comes your brother." Forrest approaches, looking uncomfortable in his suit. We haven't spoken since he sided with Parker in a family dispute 3 years ago. "Hey, sis." "Forrest." My voice is neutral. "Nice of you to make it." "Look, about everything," he starts, but I cut him off. "Not today, please." The afternoon drags on. I watch my relatives perform their grief like it's a Broadway show, each trying to outdo the other. They share stories about holidays and birthdays, conveniently forgetting the empty chairs at Grandma's hospital bedside. None of them mention the nights I spent holding her hand through the pain, the way she taught me to make her special lavender tea, how she'd tell me stories about Grandpa while I brushed her hair, the quiet moments when she'd look at me and say, "Jolie, dear." Sometimes the ones who seem to have the least give the most. As the crowd thins, I find myself alone in front of her casket. The roses are perfect. She would have hated them. She preferred wildflowers, messy and real. "Miss," the funeral director appears. "We need to prepare for tomorrow's service." I nod, running my fingers along the polished wood one last time. The envelope from Tom feels heavy in my pocket. Whatever Grandma wanted to tell me, it could wait until tomorrow. Genesis sweeps past, still recording. Don't forget to follow for part 2 of my grief journey, besties. I think of Grandma's last coherent words to me 3 days ago. She'd gripped my hand with surprising strength and said, "Remember, darling, patience is the deadliest form of revenge." At the time, I thought it was just the morphine talking. Now, watching my family members jockey for position and whisper about inheritance, I'm not so sure. Tom catches my eye across the room and taps his breast pocket, where he keeps the will. His expression is unreadable, but something about it makes me think tomorrow's reading might be more interesting than anyone expects. The conference room at Tom's law office feels too small for the amount of ego crammed into it. Parker keeps checking his Rolex. Olivia's typing furiously on her phone. Genesis is doing her makeup in a compact mirror. "Before we begin," Tom says, adjusting his reading glasses. I want to remind everyone that this reading is being recorded. Just get on with it, Claire snaps. Some of us have actual jobs to return to. I sit quietly in the corner, Amy beside me for moral support. The envelope from yesterday burns in my purse, still unopened. Tom clears his throat. Very well. To begin, I, Regina Marie Bowen, being of sound mind, the usual legal language flows until Tom reaches the first bombshell. The Bowen family estate, including the main residence and all contents, I leave to my granddaughter Jolie. The room erupts. What? Parker shoots to his feet. That house has been in our branch of the family for... There's more, Tom continues, raising his voice. Furthermore, I hereby transfer complete control of the Bowen Foundation, including all assets currently valued at approximately $80 million, to Jolie, effective immediately. Olivia's phone clatters to the floor. Genesis's mascara wand freezes mid-stroke. This is ridiculous, Claire sputters. She was clearly not in her right mind. Jolie must have... Actually, Tom interrupts, pressing a button on his laptop, Regina recorded a message for just this occasion. Grandma's voice fills the room, strong and clear. If you're hearing this, I assume my decision has caused quite a stir. Good. Let me be perfectly clear. This is no mistake. I've watched for years as most of you treated our family's legacy like a trust fund. Only Jolie understood what it truly meant to serve others. She stayed when she didn't have to. She cared when it wasn't convenient. I trust her to continue what I began, for the good of the name, not the vanity of it. Silence falls. I feel tears threatening, but blink them back. This is bull, Genesis blurts. She must have manipulated Grandma when she was weak. The will was updated 2 years ago, Tom says calmly. Regina was quite lucid. I have extensive documentation from her doctors confirming her mental state. We'll contest it, Parker declares. Right, Forrest? My brother shifts uncomfortably. I need to think about this. Think about what? Olivia hisses. Your little sister just stole our inheritance. The only thing stolen, Amy speaks up, was the time you all could have spent with your grandmother but chose not to. Stay out of this, Claire snaps. This is family business. Actually, Tom interjects, according to the new bylaws, Amy has been appointed to the Foundation's board of directors, effective immediately. More chaos erupts. I tune it out, finally pulling out Grandma's letter. My hands shake as I open it. My dearest Jolie, by now you know what I've done. You're probably scared, overwhelmed, maybe even angry with me for putting this weight on your shoulders, but I've watched you grow stronger these past 5 years, even when you thought you were breaking. You see people for who they really are. Use that gift wisely. These powers I've given you come with responsibility, but remember, power always tests character. How you wield it will reveal who you truly are. I trust you'll do what needs to be done. All my love, Grandma. This meeting is over, Tom announces, gathering his papers. All relevant documents will be sent to your respective attorneys. This isn't finished, Parker warns, jabbing a finger at me. You have no idea what you're doing. I stand slowly, Grandma's words echoing in my mind. Actually, Parker, I think I do. The Foundation's annual audit begins next week. I look forward to reviewing everything, thoroughly. His face pales slightly. Come on, Amy murmurs, guiding me toward the door. Your car's waiting. As we leave, I hear Genesis wail, What am I supposed to tell my followers? Outside, the September air is crisp. Amy squeezes my arm. You okay? I think of all the nights Grandma and I talked about the Foundation, about family, about justice. She wasn't just preparing me for caretaking. She was preparing me for this. I'm better than okay, I reply, straightening my shoulders. I'm ready. You need to see this. Amy drops a stack of files on my new desk, Grandma's old desk, in the Foundation's main office. I found some interesting patterns in the financial records. 3 weeks have passed since the will reading. The mahogany walls still feel too grand, but I'm learning to own the space. Show me, I say, pushing aside my coffee. Here. She spreads out several documents. Parker's been routing foundation funds through shell companies. Look at these consulting fees, all going to the same LLC registered in Delaware. I scan the numbers. $200,000? For what exactly? That's the thing. There's no record of any actual consulting work. A knock interrupts us. Forrest stands in the doorway, looking uncomfortable in a suit. Got a minute, sis? Amy gives me a warning look, but I nod. 5 minutes. Look, he starts, closing the door. I know we've had our differences, but I've been thinking. Maybe I could help with the foundation, make up for lost time. Interesting timing, I reply, glancing at the financial records on my desk. Any particular area you'd like to help with? He shifts his weight. Actually, Parker mentioned. Of course he did. I stand up. Did he also mention the money he's been stealing? Forrest's face gives him away. It's not what you think. Those investments were approved. By whom? Because they weren't approved by Grandma. I tap the papers. You knew about this, didn't you? Jolie, be reasonable. The foundation's huge. Sometimes things need to happen. Quietly. Get out. What? Get out of my office and tell Parker his audit's been moved up to next week. After he leaves, Amy whistles low. Well, that was illuminating. Want me to add him to the investigation? Not yet. Let's focus on Parker first. I pull up my email. Send me everything you found and get me Olivia's PR billing records. The next few days are a blur of discoveries. Olivia's firm has been charging triple market rate for basic press releases. Genesis used charity galas to promote her sponsored products without disclosure. Every rock we turn over reveals another snake. You're making enemies, Amy warns over lunch. They're already whispering about challenging the will again. Let them. I slide her my phone, showing an email from Tom. Grandma documented everything. She knew what they were doing all along. Why didn't she stop them? Because she was playing a longer game. I remember her words during our late-night talks. Sometimes you have to let people reveal themselves. The office intercom buzzes. Ms. Jolie, Mr. Parker is here. He's quite insistent. Send him in. Parker bursts through the door, waving his phone. What's this about a full audit? You can't just... Actually, I can. Section 8 of the bylaws requires annual reviews of all foundation transactions. I'm simply being thorough. This is a witch hunt, he snarls. You have no idea what you're doing. Don't I? I pull up a spreadsheet. Like this $200,000 donation to Global Consulting Solutions, LLC? Interesting company. Seems to only exist on paper. His face reddens. That's confidential business. The foundation's money isn't your personal piggy bank anymore, Parker. Those days are over. You think you're so clever, he spits, playing the devoted granddaughter, but I know what you really are, a gold-digging little... Security, I call out calmly. 2 guards appear instantly. Please escort my cousin out. And Parker, expect a call from our attorneys. After he's gone, Amy pokes her head in. You okay? Better than okay? I pull up another document. Remember that whistleblower hotline Grandma set up last year? Let's make sure every board member has the number. Going nuclear already? No. I smile, remembering Grandma's lessons about patience. Just setting the stage. The real show hasn't even started. My phone buzzes with a text from Genesis. OMG, just heard about Parker. Can we talk? I swear I can explain everything. What's our next move? Amy asks. I think of the letter in my desk drawer. Power always tests character. Now, I say, we follow the money. All of it. No exceptions, no mercy. And then? Then we let karma do its job. The annual Bowen Foundation Gala glitters with false smiles and hidden agendas. I adjust my grandmother's pearls as I take the stage, scanning the crowd of donors, reporters, and family members who'd rather see me fail. Welcome, everyone, I begin. This year marks a new chapter for the foundation. From the corner of my eye, I spot Olivia whispering to a reporter. 3 seats over, an IRS consultant I quietly invited takes notes. Genesis live streams from her table, her followers flooding the chat with heart emojis. Our commitment to transparency has never been stronger, I continue, which is why I'm announcing a complete organizational audit. Champagne glasses freeze midway to lips. Parker's face turns an interesting shade of purple. The rest of my speech is interrupted by technical difficulties. The microphone cuts out twice. The presentation slides scramble. I catch Olivia smirking at her phone. Amateur hour. Backup systems engaged, Amy murmurs from the wings. We'd anticipated sabotage. After the speech, I work the room. Donors cluster around me, eager to align with the new power structure. A board member named Richard pulls me aside. "Remarkable changes you're making," he says, nervously adjusting his tie. "But there's talk, concerns about certain historical practices." "You mean the missing funds?" I keep my voice low. "Don't worry, Richard. The whistleblower hotline is completely anonymous." He practically runs away. "Subtle," Amy comments, appearing with fresh drinks. "How many board members have you terrorized tonight?" "Just the guilty ones." I sip my water. "How's our little information leak going?" "Right on schedule. 3 different reporters have asked about Parker's consulting company." Genesis interrupts, phone extended. "Jolie, my followers are dying to hear about your vision for the foundation. Quick interview?" "Of course." I smile directly into her camera. "I believe in absolute transparency. In fact, we're reviewing all our past influencer partnerships." She ends the live stream abruptly. The evening continues its careful dance until Claire corners me near the dessert table. "You think you're clever, don't you? Playing with things you don't understand?" "I understand plenty," I reply. "Like how to read financial statements. Fascinating reading." "You ungrateful little—" "Everything okay here?" Amy asks, materializing with a photographer in tow. "We need some family photos for the press release." Claire's fury disappears behind a practiced smile. "Of course, darling." Later, as guests filter out, a board member texts me. "This is about more than the estate. People are scared of what you'll do next." "Good," I text back. Amy finds me in Grandma's old office, my office now, after everyone leaves. "Well, that was fun, but you should see this." She hands me her tablet. An email chain shows Olivia trying to blackmail a former employee into making false statements about my mental state. "She's getting desperate," I note. "They all are. Parker's been making calls to lawyers specializing in will contests. Genesis is bleeding followers after that charity merchandise scandal leaked. And Olivia—" "What about Olivia?" "Remember that PR firm whistleblower? They're ready to talk, with receipts." I lean back in Grandma's chair, feeling its familiar comfort. "Perfect timing. The board meets next week to review all vendor contracts." "Jolie," Amy hesitates, "are you sure about this? Once you start, there's no going back." I open my desk drawer, touching Grandma's letter. They had years to do the right thing, years to show basic human decency. Instead, they chose greed. And now? Now they face consequences. I pull out a file. "Speaking of which, have our friends at the IRS received the anonymous tip about Parker's offshore accounts?" "Tomorrow morning." My phone buzzes, a message from Tom. "Your grandmother would be proud, but remember her warning about power." I think of Grandma's final months, how she'd watch our family's machinations with quiet disappointment, how she'd squeeze my hand and whisper, "Patience, dear. Justice needs no announcement. It announces itself." "Send everything," I tell Amy. "All of it. Let's see how they handle real transparency." And if they retaliate, I smile, remembering Grandma's words about karma. That's the beautiful thing about truth, Amy. Once it starts flowing, it tends to drown everyone who tried to stop it. The city lights twinkle beyond my office window, And somewhere out there, my family is starting to realize exactly what Grandma created when they left her in my care. Not a caretaker, an executioner. The door to my office slams open so hard it rattles Grandma's antique vase. Parker storms in, face flushed, waving a stack of papers. "You leaked the audit findings to the IRS?" His voice cracks with rage. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I don't look up from my computer. "I didn't leak anything. The foundation is legally required to report suspicious financial activity." "This isn't a game, Jolie. You're destroying this family." Now I meet his eyes. "No, Parker, you did that yourself. 200,000 in embezzled funds? That's just what we found so far. That money was an investment into your personal offshore account." I pull up a document on my screen. "Interesting investment strategy." He slams his hands on my desk. "Listen here, you little—" "No, you listen." I stand slowly. "Forrest told me everything. How you promised him a board seat in exchange for helping hide the transfers. Real brotherly of you." Parker's face goes white. "He wouldn't—" "He did. Right after I showed him proof that you planned to blame him if anyone discovered the missing funds." "You bitch!" "Security," I call out calmly. 2 guards appear instantly. "Please escort Mr. Parker out, and make sure to log his threats. Our lawyers will need them." As they lead him away, my phone buzzes. A text from Amy. "Genesis's charity coat scandal just hit TMZ. Comments are brutal." Another buzz. "Emergency board meeting now," from Olivia. I smile, straightening Grandma's vase. Right on schedule. The boardroom is chaos when I arrive. Olivia stands at the head of the table, perfectly coiffed despite her desperation. "This is unacceptable," and she's saying. "We demand an immediate change to the bylaws. No single person should have this much control." "Interesting timing," I interrupt, taking my seat, "especially since I just received some concerning documentation about your PR firm's billing practices. Those invoices were approved by you, to yourself, at triple the market rate." I slide copies across the table. "The IRS has questions about that, too." The room goes silent. Board members shift uncomfortably. "You can't prove anything," Olivia hisses. "Actually," I nod to Amy, who starts distributing folders. "These are copies of last week's amendment to the foundation bylaws, already filed and approved. It specifically addresses conflicts of interest and financial oversight." "What amendment?" Olivia snatches a copy. "There wasn't any vote." "Yes, there was. Last Tuesday. You were too busy planning this coup attempt to read your emails." Her face crumples as she reads. Every loophole she planned to use, every backdoor escape route, all closed. My phone buzzes again. A message from Claire. "This ends now. Expect our lawyers. We're challenging the will on grounds of mental competency." As if on cue, Tom walks in. "I thought you might need these." He drops a thick folder on the table. "Regina's complete medical records, psychological evaluations, and video recordings of her discussing her estate plans, all properly witnessed and notarized." Olivia sinks into her chair. "Oh," I add, "and Genesis? Those charity coats you sold through your influencer account? The ones made in sweatshops instead of our approved manufacturers? The FBI's Human Trafficking Task Force would like a word." Genesis bursts into tears, mascara running. "This meeting is adjourned," I announce, standing. "Unless anyone else would like to discuss their creative accounting?" The room empties quickly. Only Amy remains, looking concerned. "You okay?" she asks softly. "They're not done," I reply, gathering my papers. "Claire won't give up easily. But we have everything documented. It's not about documentation anymore." I pause at the doorway. It's about pride, and wounded pride is dangerous. My phone buzzes one final time. A text from an unknown number. "You think you've won? Watch your back. Some of us know what you really did to get the old lady's trust." Amy reads over my shoulder. Should we be worried? I think of Grandma's words about karma, about power, about justice. about how truth always finds its way to the surface. No, I say, deleting the message. Let them come. Everything I did in the light. Can they say the same? But as we leave the boardroom, I can't shake the feeling that this war is far from over, and the next battle won't be fought with paperwork and bylaws, it'll be fought with secrets. The courtroom feels colder than it should in June. Claire sits with her lawyers, a practiced look of concern on her face as they present their case to challenge Grandma's will. Regina was clearly being manipulated, their lawyer argues. In her weakened state— Objection, Tom interrupts. Speculation. Sustained, the judge says. I take the stand next, my hands steady despite the stakes. Claire's lawyer approaches, all fake sympathy. Ms. Jolie, isn't it true you moved in with your grandmother after losing your job? Yes, she offered. And isn't it true that prior to that, you had minimal contact with her? No. I meet his eyes. I visited every Sunday for dinner. I have 5 years of calendar entries and dozens of witnesses to prove it. He changes tactics. Did you ever discuss the will with Regina? Yes, I reply, watching him perk up. She liked to tell stories while I helped with her physical therapy. One night she told me about how Parker tried to pressure her into changing it. Parker shifts uncomfortably in his seat. She showed me security footage of Olivia going through her desk after hours, and emails from Genesis asking for early inheritance advances. The lawyer tugs his collar. But surely, would you like to see the recordings? I ask innocently. Grandma kept everything. She was very thorough. During the recess, Genesis corners me in the bathroom. Jolie, please. My followers are abandoning me. My sponsors are pulling out. I'll tell you everything about Claire's plan. Just help me? What plan? She's been gathering dirt on you for months, but she doesn't know what I know about her offshore accounts. I raise an eyebrow. Go on. By the time court reconvenes, Genesis sits on my side of the room. Claire's face could curdle milk. Tom presents the medical evidence. Videos of Grandma discussing her decisions, notarized statements from her doctors, security footage of my daily care routine. And finally, Tom says, a video Regina recorded 3 months before her death. The screen flickers to life. Grandma sits in her study, looking frail but sharp-eyed. If you're watching this, she begins, my decision is being challenged. So let me be crystal clear. I'm choosing Jolie not because she's the only one who cared for me, but because she's the only one who cared about what's right. The rest of you— She leans forward. I've watched you steal, lie, and scheme. I've documented everything. Jolie knows where the proof is. Don't test her. The courtroom erupts. Claire's lawyers huddle frantically. Furthermore, Tom continues over the chaos, I have here signed confessions from 3 former employees detailing attempts to bribe them into testifying against Jolie. The judge's gavel cracks like thunder. I've heard enough. This case is dismissed. The will stands. Outside, reporters swarm. Genesis, desperate to rebuild her image, speaks directly to their cameras. I'm proud to support Jolie's vision for the Foundation's future. Amy appears at my elbow. We lost another major donor. Anonymous tip about family instability. Let me guess, the tip came from inside? Yep, but here's the interesting part. The email traced back to Forrest's computer. My brother. Of course, the last piece of the puzzle. My phone buzzes with a message from Tom. Your grandmother left one more recording. Private viewing only. Come by the office. Later in Tom's office, I watch Grandma's final message to me alone. Jolie, darling, if you're seeing this, you've won the legal battle. But remember, winning isn't the same as being right. I gave you this power for a reason, and it wasn't revenge. It was restoration. Don't let victory blind you to purpose. I think of Genesis's tearful confession, of the evidence still waiting to be revealed, of the battles yet to come. What now? Amy asks when I emerge. Now we follow the money trail Forrest left. all the way to whoever's really pulling the strings. And then, I touch Grandma's pearls at my neck. Then we find out who's been funding Claire's legal fees. Something tells me it's not coming from her tennis club savings. The sun sets over the city as we leave, casting long shadows. Somewhere out there, my family is realizing that beating me in court was never the real endgame. The real game is just beginning. It was Forrest all along, Amy says, spreading documents across my desk. He's been playing both sides since before Grandma died. The evidence is irrefutable. Bank transfers, secret meetings, emails between my brother and Parker planning how to manipulate the foundation's collapse, all while Forrest pretended to make amends with me. My phone rings. Speak of the devil. Hey, sis, Forrest's voice is casual. We should talk. About what? The offshore account you share with Parker? Or the fake whistleblower reports you've been planting? Silence. Then, how did you? Grandma taught me well. Check your email. I hear his sharp intake of breath as he receives the files. Proof of every betrayal, every scheme, every lie. Jolie, wait, I can explain. Save it for the FBI. They're particularly interested in the wire fraud. The line goes dead. Amy watches me carefully. You okay? Release everything to the press, I say, standing. All of it. Parker's embezzlement, Olivia's kickbacks, and especially Forrest's role. It'll destroy them. They destroyed themselves. I'm just turning on the lights. My phone explodes with notifications as the story breaks. Parker's misappropriated funds splashed across financial news. Olivia's PR firm blacklisted after her falsified invoices surface. Forrest's professional reputation in tatters. Genesis calls, breathless. Oh my God, Jolie, my followers are going crazy. Can I please do an exclusive about how I helped expose the corruption? Sure, Lakish, I reply, right after you explain those sweatshop contracts. She hangs up. Claire storms into my office unannounced. You vindictive little... Security is on their way, I cut her off. But before they arrive, would you like to explain these? I hold up documents showing her connection to the fake mental competency claims. You have no idea what you've done, she spits. This family isn't yours to destroy anymore. The guards escort her out as she screams threats. Hours later, I stand at Grandma's grave. The autumn wind rustles through nearby trees as I trace her name on the stone. I did it, I whisper. I buried them. But is this what you meant about power testing character? Talking to ghosts? Amy approaches softly. The news is everywhere. Parker's being investigated by the SEC. Olivia's biggest clients are jumping ship. Forrest. Forrest just boarded a plane to somewhere without extradition. And Claire? Hiding at her country club, but her friends are suddenly too busy to take her calls. I place fresh wildflowers, Grandma's favorite, on the grave. Any word from Genesis? Posted a tearful apology video. Her followers are calling it karma farming. My phone buzzes with a text from Tom. Regina would be proud, but remember, pride comes before the fall. What happens now? Amy asks. Now we rebuild. The foundation needs... A familiar voice interrupts. It needs its soul back. I turn to find Forrest standing there, hands raised. Security's right behind me. I'm not here to fight. Why are you here? To confess. To everything. Parker promised me power, position, revenge for being overlooked. But you... He swallows hard. You were the only one who actually cared about Grandma. It's too late. I know. But someone needs to tell the whole truth. About all of us. About what we became. Police sirens wail in the distance. Go, I say quietly. But if you ever come near the foundation again... He nods once and disappears into the gathering dusk. Amy touches my arm. That was merciful. No, I reply, watching the spot where my brother vanished. That was strategic. His confession will seal their fates better than any evidence could. The wind picks up, carrying dead leaves across Grandma's grave. I think of her final recording, her warnings about power and purpose. "Let's go," I tell Amy. "We have a foundation to fix." But as we walk away, I can't shake the feeling that victory tastes different than I imagined. Sweeter, yes, but also somehow hollow. My phone lights up with one last message from an unknown number. Karma comes for everyone eventually, even those who think they're dealing it out. I delete it without replying. They're right, after all. Karma does come for everyone. I just never expected it to feel this lonely when it did. The Foundation's lobby bustles with energy as donors and board members file in for the emergency meeting. Amy hands me the latest numbers. "Donations up 40%, she says. "Turns out transparency is good for business." I scan the crowd. No familiar faces from the old guard. Parker's facing federal charges. Olivia's firm dissolved overnight. Claire vanished to her sister's house in Europe. Forrest's confession made national news before he disappeared. Only Genesis remains, working the room with genuine enthusiasm. She's traded designer clothes for business suits, Instagram followers for actual accomplishments. "Ready?" Amy asks as we approach the podium. "Almost." I pull Grandma's letter from my pocket, worn and creased from countless readings. One last time, I trace her words about power and character. The room falls silent as I take the stage. "Welcome. Today marks a new chapter." Halfway through my speech about the Foundation's future, a latecomer slips in. Forrest, thinner, grayer, but standing tall. I don't falter. "Our mission was never about wealth or status. It was about service, about doing what's right, not what's easy." After, Forrest approaches cautiously. Security tenses, but I wave them back. "I turned myself in this morning," he says quietly. "Full confession, all evidence surrendered. The prosecutors say it'll help their case against Parker." "Why now?" "Because you were right. About everything." He pulls out an old photo, Grandma and me in her garden. "Found this in my old desk. Remember that day?" I do. She taught me about her roses, about patience, about growing something beautiful from thorny beginnings. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," Forrest continues. "Just wanted you to know you did what I couldn't. You saved her legacy. Genesis joins us, professional but warm. The youth outreach program is ready to launch whenever you are, Jolie." I watch my brother's surprise at her transformation. "People can change," I tell him, "if they choose to." "Some people," he agrees sadly, turning to leave. "Forrest," I call after him, "thank you for choosing truth in the end." He nods once and walks away. It feels like goodbye, but also like something new. Amy appears with more updates. The Foundation's new transparency policies are becoming industry standard. Our charitable impact has tripled. Even Claire's country club friends are donating now. "Karma's funny that way," Genesis comments. "Everyone thought you were destroying the family, but really—" "I was rebuilding it," I finish, "just not the way they expected." Later, in Grandma's study, my study now, I light a fire and hold her letter one last time. The paper feels lighter somehow, its burden lifted. "You were right," I whisper, letting the flames take it. "Power tested my character, but maybe the test wasn't about revenge at all. It was about redemption," Amy says from the doorway. "Look," she hands me her tablet. On screen, Olivia's giving an interview. "I was wrong about everything. The Foundation's doing amazing work now, work I should have supported all along." My phone buzzes with a text from Parker's wife. He's agreed to plead guilty, says he's tired of running from the truth. Genesis pokes her head in. "Sorry to interrupt, but the youth center needs final approval on their budget." I look around the study, at Grandma's roses still blooming in their vase, at the family photos showing what we were and what we could be again, at the faces of people who chose to change rather than fall. "You know what she'd say about all this?" Amy asks softly. I do. I hear her voice every day. "The greatest power isn't in destroying what's broken, dear. It's in showing others how to fix themselves." "Let's go," I tell Genesis and Amy. We have work to do. The foundation's lights shine bright against the darkening sky as we leave. Somewhere out there, my family is scattered but healing. Some through justice, others through change, all through truth. They wanted fortune. I wanted justice. But in the end, we all found something else. The courage to face who we really are, and the strength to become who we should be. That, I realize, was Grandma's real inheritance all along.